Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 75, basketball edition. We're brought to you by the Outright Geekery podcast on the outrightgeekery.com. Also, we are currently live on the YouTube, courtesy of the S&B Network. Make sure that you go ahead and smash that, you know what Boogie Bentley says, that like button, and share out the link. My name is Vols JP.
I'm Dauber. What's happening?
What's going on, people in basketball country, Big Orange country? We just watched the Vols dismantle a severely outmatched Florida A&M. Those uniforms,
I was
I
going to
think
say
I had to adjust my eyesight.
overmatched, but they were definitely dressed to. I don't know what they were dressed to do, but
I don't either.
yeah,
Those boys were. That was a some interesting uniforms that they had on for sure. Some color combos.
very non-traditional.
Yeah. What you think about that big old center that played for them?
Man,
Oh,
I thought that might have been their nose guard or something.
I know it. I turned that game on and they tipped off and I seen him and I was like, man, I wonder how they don't have him playing some football down there at Florida A&M.
Yeah,
And maybe he does. I don't know. He was a
I
big old boy.
I tell you what though, he was pretty athletic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couple of those little spin moves and hit a couple nice shots off the glass. Showed some range and some ability. Of course, he got fouled one time and went up and completely bricked his free throws. So
Ricked on the free throws. I was like, gosh, that old boy kind of has my build, you know. Of course, he's a little bit taller than me, but he's about as wide as me, I think, or probably more, certainly. But totally outclassed. I think Florida A&M came in at 0-6, and what we beat them by 29 or 30 points, I guess. So but Matt Griffin said he looked like a giant. That's what I told Brandy. I was like, God, this bunch looks like Christmas. Looks like a bunch of Christmas presents wrapped up.
yeah. So so that is 31 in a row at the Tommy Bowl.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
extended that little streak right there.
Certainly, yeah. And what's that puts us at 7-1 for the year?
7-1. Couple of picked up a couple pretty good wins since we last really kind of got in depth and talked about the BasketVawls. Beat a ranked Washington team in Toronto. I think we touched on that maybe on one of our regular Talkin VAWLS shows, but then we also beat a ranked VCU team. So good showing there for the guys. Um, I but I think we'll get into the tournament that they were in here in just a little bit. But yeah, we dropped one to Florida State. That kind of, in my opinion, exposed some things and then kind of backed up some things that I thought about this team going into this season.
Yeah, let's just jump on into the Emerald Coast Classic. I'm shocked. I mean, I know there's football that's going on certainly this time of year, but the fact that I had to watch that game Saturday on some live feed on YouTube, I was
Yeah.
kind of disappointed in that. I'm thinking, geez, I mean, here you got two top 20 teams going at it early in the season, but
Well, it also was a consolation game.
it was, but then it also looked like that they was playing in a high school gym, and
Yeah.
maybe it was, I don't know. I think it was a junior college
Right.
campus. I think is what it was. But so on Friday night, day after Thanksgiving, the Vols took on Florida State, who was unranked at the time, but had a couple of quality wins. One of them against the mighty Florida Gators. And Tennessee struggled. I mean, the really, in my opinion, the first 5-6 minutes of that basketball game is what done Vols in. I think at one point we were down. I think it was 12-2 or 14-2 or something like that. And this basketball team is just not going to be able to do that because we just don't have the players that is going to be able to battle back from those type of deficits. I don't feel like anyway. We just didn't turnovers. I mean, the first, of course, Tennessee had 21 turnovers in the entire game. They're not going to beat many quality teams this year turning the basketball over 21 times. You're not going to hardly beat anybody turning the basketball over 21 times. And that seems to be a pattern early in the season that this basketball team is having a lot of turnovers. Even tonight I looked and I think they were up to 13 or 14 there. At the end of the game. So there's something certainly this basketball team is going to have to, as Joe Martin says, the turnovers have to stop with that. But battled back, made it a game. They hung in there, and they had a shot there at the end. And I went back and was thinking back from some of those plays during the Florida State game, and of course, I know we can say this in probably any basketball game, but there was, a couple of threes that I know Bowden threw up there in the first half that basically went in and out.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's the way the ball bounces in basketball and stuff like that. The Vols didn't shoot the ball well at all, 33%. So with that many turnovers and shooting 33%, if it hadn't been for the defense that they played and probably some bad shooting on Florida State's behalf as well, Vols get blowed out that game otherwise.
Yeah. And that's Matt Griffith hit it right on the head. A lot of the passes are lazy, and that's one thing I had written down about the game against the Seminoles was they telegraphed a lot of the passes too. It wasn't, that there wasn't a fake. I mean, it was just lazy. That's got to kill Barnes. Barnes is one of those guys. I've seen some video of him. At practices and stuff, and man, you turn the ball over at practice. They've got a stair climber that sits over in the Pratt Pavilion there where they practice. You turn it over in practice. You make a mistake. You know what you're doing. Off the court and onto that. So it's a combination of a couple of things. We're running through Lamonte Turner right now, and he's not your typical point guard. I think I liked seeing James kind of take the point a little bit tonight. I still think he's learning and adjusting to college basketball. I don't think he could right now run a full game at point guard, but I think, or I hope to see him, halfway through this season kind of take over and assume running the point and letting Turner slide over and be in his more his comfort zone.
Two guard,
yeah. Which I think that's why he has been not shooting the ball as well, because it's a whole lot to take on all that added pressure of the ball handling and running the offense versus just catch and shoot. But I said it in the preview for this season that this team will come and go as Bowden and Turner go. If those guys are having off nights offensively, I think the Vols are going to struggle. They're just not. I don't want to say they're not athletic, because they've got some guys that are athletes, and some of the kid that I can't say his name, Olivier.
Come on, or whatever.
Yeah,
Come on. I think I try to figure out how to pronounce his name by listening to the announcers, and I still can't figure it out.
if you listen to it, you're like, okay, I get this. But then you see it, and you're like, that's not. I don't know
How
how
does
to.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we can't be like I am with old Hank T and just give him a nickname and roll with it. But he is coming along, and I know this coaching staff is really high on him. But the team is not deep. Barnes typically doesn't have a very deep bench. You saw that last year. I think we only had 9 guys get
Typically, yeah.
8 or 9 guys
Hmm.
getting
Hmm.
quality minutes. So you're going to have to get some of those guys involved. And these early games this season before we get into league play, it is where we're going to have to, really find those 3, maybe 4 guys off the bench that are going to be um, the role players and guys to step up if somebody's having an off night, if somebody gets in foul trouble.
Yeah, yeah, and that's certainly what these games against Florida A&M, and who was the other team we played there a week or so ago that was really bad? I can't even think now. I'd have to go back and look, but we beat them by 30 some points. But
UNC or UNC Asheville.
no, actually, UNC Asheville, I think gave us a decent. I can't think. I'd have to look at the schedule. I've got it pulled up, but I had it pulled up, but I don't have it now here in front of me. But anyway, yes, these early season games, not non-conference games against opponents like tonight, those is where we're going to get Olivier Kamoa and Pember and those fellas, Gaines. Gaines really stepped up there, and I thought really showed some flash there in the Emerald Coast Classic,
Mm-hmm.
playing on the defensive side. Gosh, his arms are so huge. I mean, long.
Yeah.
I mean that kid is just long for sure. And if he can get some meat on those bones, I think he's got a lot of potential. But going back to that Florida State game, I think that they said that Florida State was, as far as lengthwise, that they were the biggest team or the longest team in the NCAA this year, and certainly I think Fulkerson struggled with that.
Mm-hmm.
What he have 2 points, I believe, in that
Yeah,
game.
yeah. I think he went 2 and then turned around the next night and went for 16 or 17.
17, yeah, against VCU, but yeah, he did not have a good game at all against Florida State. Bowden was kind of hit or miss. There was a large portion of that game that he was just kind of non-existent. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that you were talking about Josiah James there earlier, but and Barnes even mentioned this and post game and stuff, or in his PC, I think on Monday, that Josiah James is going to have to assert himself more on the offensive end. He's
Yeah,
passing up too many shots that, and there's nothing wrong with, trying to pass and get your teammates involved, but he needs to be more of a scorer for us too.
yeah. Oh, especially being a 5-star McDonald's All-American. It's not necessarily you're looking for your shot all the time, but you've got, if you're feeling it. If you got an open look, by all means, you've got to take that rather than I saw him one time tonight. He forced a pass, and it led to a bobbled ball and eventually a turnover off the bad pass. So it's just it's a growing process. Like I said, he is a true freshman. Granted, he's done this AAU stuff and all these showcase tournaments and played against a lot of elite athletes, but it's still it's a different level going up to college basketball. Different pressures, different circumstances, and all that.
Definitely is, and that's the thing about this basketball team. Relying on Josiah James and Gaines and Pember this year, Kama, whatever, however his name's pronounced. Um, I think I'm just going to call him ON or whatever his last name starts with. It's one of those last names that has too many uh,
consonants.
consonants in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. With that, but that's what this basketball team hopes for, and that's what that you are hoping for as far as the way that in the past that Barnes has been able to develop that. Come SEC, come this time next month, come February, March, that this is a battle tested team, and those freshmen feel a lot more comfortable. They're going to have to play defense, or they won't see the court with Barnes. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an absolute given. Barnes demands that you play defense, and if you don't play defense, it probably wouldn't matter if you could score 40 a night. um, if you're playing lazy on the defensive end, it's not going to sit well with Barnes for sure.
Well, that's my understanding with Jalen Johnson, and why he kind of doesn't see as many minutes as some of the other guys.
Yeah, it seems like every time that he's in there, it's just kind of and maybe it's just his demeanor or something, but it just seems like that he doesn't have the energy, I guess, that you may think that you would need and stuff. So
Well, it's hard when you're playing alongside Fulkerson, though. that,
yeah, yeah.
that dude's all over the court like a spider monkey.
He is. That's Fulkerson's got his downsides, as far as some of his offensive skills, I guess. But you can never fault that kid for the effort that he puts out there for sure.
Yeah,
On that.
Effort and hustle is unmatched, and it will make up for lack of athleticism or like you said, offensive prowess.
Yeah, yeah. As Matt Griffin says, Fulkerson had a good game tonight, and he certainly did. And carrying over to the consolation game in the Emerald Coast Classic against VCU, I think he went for 17 points and seven boards. So certainly Tennessee doesn't bounce back and win that basketball game there last Saturday night without the play of John Fulkerson for sure. And talking about that basketball game, I thought the Vols had a really good first half. I think they jumped out. I think it was a 12-point lead at halftime, 12 or 13-point lead, and then they got sloppy again there and started having turnovers. And the next thing you know, that VCU cut it down to single digits and had it about 7, and then they just kept on whittling away. And of course, they come down there with 4 or 5 seconds left and drain that 3-pointer.
Yeah.
To tie the basketball game up. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh gosh, here we go, because it seemed like that they had all the momentum in that basketball game there at the end, and we'd already lost the game against Florida State, and you're thinking, man, this basketball team's about ready to go from being 6-0 to 6-2,
Yeah.
or 5-0 to 5-2. But just what a huge shot at the end of the game by Mr. Clutch Turner. Certainly he struggled this year. A lot of comments, a lot of speculation that shoulder is still bothering him, and he's got issues with it. And of course, like you said, taking on the point guard role has probably had something to do with his shot making ability as well. But definitely, his shot has not been there. It's not fallen like like we know, and we've seen it in the past. Hopefully that will improve, because we definitely need that too. But just a huge shot there by Fulkerson to give the Vols 72-69 win against VCU, which probably more than likely. I mean, they're I don't know if they're still ranked or not after that loss, but certainly you would figure that they would be a tournament team.
Yeah. And that's Florida State last year made the Elite Eight, didn't they?
I'm not even for sure. Maybe they did. Maybe
I'm
they
pretty
did.
sure they did. But yeah, like I said, they have battled some pretty good teams. Of course, you've got some cupcakes as well, like tonight. Um, it's it's hard to make any assessment off of a game like tonight because it's essentially a shoot around or a practice. I mean, um, a couple highlight reel dunks. There were a couple really good out of bounds plays. And that's one
Hmm.
thing that I like Barnes coming out of a timeout, drawing up something, with some motion and screening. Um, very, very good at that. It's just I like the addition of Kim English to this team. Um, I think he brings. Not that Barnes is old and crotchety and out of touch with the game, but um, I like that they've got a younger guy in there. But Barnes is he's hilarious, man. You and I were talking earlier about the post game. I guess after the VCU game, with him and Fulkerson sitting there. And if you guys have not seen that, you need to go look it up on Twitter. Um, Barnes was talking about the tournament and how well it was run and all the stuff. He said, "Man, I don't know that I'd change a thing about it." And Fulkerson he raises his hand first of all, and he says, "Can I add something to it? We didn't get to see the beach enough." And Barnes was just he was like, "What? Are you serious?" He even said to him, "As white as you are, or as pale as you are, people think a ghost is up on the beach."
Yeah.
He said, "Is that why you didn't play good? You were on
You
the
just wanting to
beach."
be on the beach. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, just
Yeah.
cutting up, and that's what you like to see. You like to see a team that is so comfortable that they can relax and have fun and enjoy the season because it is a grind and it is stressful. But if you can kind of control that and control the things you can control, I think you're better off and you'll play better on the court when you're loose like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Barnes is a jewel. I mean, he really is, and I guess what's been so impressive about Barnes is not only the way that he's been able to develop some of these kids, but they all seem to be high character kids too.
Absolutely.
I mean that's the thing about Barnes. I don't think that he's going to put up with any kind of shenanigans. There's rumors flying around, and of course, who knows how true it is, but there's rumors flying around that that's why that Kerry Blackshear kid didn't end up signing with Tennessee, that grad transfer from Virginia Tech, because he wanted to do some things that probably off the court that Barnes didn't really agree with. Now, who knows if any of that stuff's true, but that's rumors that are flying around with that. I did find it interesting that it seemed to be that he was going to Tennessee, and then all of a sudden he ends up at Florida. But anyway, he's kind of struggled this year. I've
Yeah.
kept up with him just a little bit. He got thrown out of the game for fighting and all kinds of stuff. So
Hmm.
not for sure, but of course, he'll probably end up having a career game against us when we play him. So on that, but who we got else in the live chat? We got Joe Martin claiming he's going to drive up and see us next year. Well, we appreciate that, Joe. Certainly, as Boogie said there at the post game there show against Vanderbilt, that planning on having that meet and greet there next summer. The Saturday there, the opening game against Charlotte. So we hope a lot of folks can come up. We'd like to meet all of you guys, and certainly enjoy interacting with you all on a regular basis. I know there's not a lot of folks in here tonight. We kind of thought basketball that we'd probably see a drop in the attendance. I mean, there's still a lot of UT basketball fans, but certainly, nothing like the football following. But we certainly appreciate everybody that's in here tonight talking basketball with us for sure. And we can even hit on some football stuff. I see Matt Griffin there asking about Mr. Jawan Jennings. I was really, really concerned that he would end up in trouble over that. And I mean, I hate it for him. I do. But I think with the way that, here's my take on that. I think he should have been flagged for a late hit. I think that if you watch that replay, the Vanderbilt player was definitely out of bounds. And then he goes down there and he mugs him while he's on the ground. And, when I saw it, sitting there watching the game Saturday night, I almost thought he was like punching him, because you couldn't really tell because all that equipment was around there, but he was just scrambling around and all that stuff. But I think with the way that he basically mugged him while he was on the ground, and then the way that Jennings acted after he got up, I think that left probably some concern with the SEC in whether or not that they felt like that there might have been some malicious intent there, and maybe that he did intend to step on his head. I mean, that's the way that I feel. I feel like that if Jennings hadn't acted maybe the way he did, kind of pushing other teammates and pushing coaches around, all fired up after it happened, I feel like maybe that the SEC may have overlooked that.
Yeah, but I don't know if I tweeted you that or if I tweeted somebody else. There was a video of the linebacker for Kentucky twisting the guy from Florida's foot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
he didn't get in trouble. Yeah,
didn't get in any trouble, and that wasn't just
that was definitely intentional.
That was definitely intentional. It wasn't incidental or you couldn't. I mean, he was definitely trying to hurt the guy, and it's clear as day on the video. Nothing was done about it.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, it's not a good look for Jennings, but it's really hard to say what his intentions were. I mean, I would have rather none of it happened, but I don't know that the guy was going for. He wasn't even looking down at the ground when his foot went down, and that's the whole thing. I kind of have a heart, and I'm not looking at it through orange colored glasses or anything like that. It's just it's hard to speculate on something like that when it's not clear and absolute, like the incident we saw with the linebacker from Kentucky in the Florida game.
Yeah, and that's why that I have the thinking that it was his actions of basically mugging the guy and ripping his helmet off to begin with, and then the way that he acted afterwards. I think that if he hadn't, I mean, obviously, if he hadn't ripped the guy's helmet off, that he wouldn't have stomped on his head. Or if he would have, he'd have stomped on his helmet, which that wouldn't have caused any kind of injury. But those two reasons there, I think that's why he's ultimately suspended for the first half of the bowl game. And I hate it. I mean, I hate it because obviously he's our best offensive weapon.
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough now. But as Matt Griffin says, Jawan is a smart enough player not to do that. And his emotions got the best of him. And, I think that there's probably going to be a lot of NFL teams that are going to look at that and be like, what kind of character is this guy?
Yeah.
and it could hurt him.
Especially with the whole what was it, Twitter video that came out that got him suspended and then
Yeah, I mean,
dismissed from the team.
yeah. So I mean, he's got a record.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a history of being kind of a wild card for sure. But his passion and energy is one of the reasons why that Tennessee fans absolutely love him.
Yeah.
That's one of the probably the biggest reason why that Tennessee fans love him is the way that he loves the University of Tennessee. He loves playing for the home state school, and he brings so much passion and energy out there on the football field.
And that's
But
I've said it all along. I think it was his freshman year. He came down and made a tackle on special teams against Florida, and I'm pretty sure he got flagged for it. He got up, laid the guy out, got up over top of him, and did the chomp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, I like this
I love
kid.
that guy.
I like the way he plays. I mean, it's just because and especially in the football series with Florida, we've lacked so much for so long, and anybody that comes in with kind of some swagger or attitude, it's something that the Tennessee team needs in that series, because there have been so many games over the last decade that it's just been we've been beat mentally before we even go out and play on the field because the streak and all that.
Yeah, that's definitely a sore subject with us Vol fans for sure. Matt Griffin's wanting to know if we think Vandy petitioned the SEC to review. Oh, I guarantee you that they did. I mean, you're allowed. You can turn in plays. I don't know if there's a max number that you can turn in or what it is, but I guarantee you that the Vandy brought that to the attention of SEC officials. Of course, I mean, it's on ESPN, it's on the SEC network, it's all over the internet. So, certainly there was no way to hide it. Obviously, once it happened, it was out there, and with that, so it just stinks. It stinks, but I was concerned after it happened Saturday that he was going to have some kind of punishment for it, and I guess probably just missing the first half is certainly better than the other alternative of being suspended and never getting him to see him play in a Vols uniform again. So hopefully he lets that excitement build up and comes out in the second half of that ball game, whoever we play and wherever we play, and just goes off and lights out and scores two or three touchdowns maybe.
just let him run wildcat the whole time and run over people.
Yeah. I think part of Jennings' problem Saturday too is I think that he was frustrated with the game plan and with the fact that they came out trying to throw, and obviously that wasn't working. Whether it was just Garantano just having one of his nights, or whether it was just because of the wet field conditions and the ball or whatever. But then they finally just started just running the football. And once Gray, broke off a couple of those runs, and Pruitt seen that the defense was going to be able to pretty much, make life difficult for Vanderbilt, I think at that point in time we kind of just scrapped all of that and just went run heavy. And I think that just got Jennings. Of course, I mean, he wants football. I mean, he is a true competitor, and he wants football. And it was his last home game, so. Unfortunately, he didn't keep his emotions in check, and it's cost him.
Yep.
That so, but what do you think, Dauber? Anything else you want to talk about? We still don't know anything really written in stone as far as the bowl game goes. There's all kinds of different scenarios out there. A lot of questions, with Alabama dropping all the way down to 12, and the how far in the bowl pecking order are they going to drop? Could that have
Yeah.
an impact on Tennessee? I've heard that with them dropping so low that people don't think there's any chance that they're going to make a New Year's Six bowl, so that could drop them down to possibly the Citrus Bowl, which then could drop Auburn down probably to the Outback Bowl, maybe, which then you would think Tennessee. Then I read something they were talking about that Music City Bowl would love to have Tennessee. I don't want to go back to the Music City Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to.
Today was the first day that I had seen the Belk Bowl mentioned.
Yeah.
They're in Charlotte.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope that it's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that it's the Gator Bowl. Now, certainly, if they end up in Tampa, but I think that this team, and certainly this fan base is going to travel, but I think that it would be an awesome way to send these seniors out with a bowl game in Florida. And certainly it's going. You'd imagine that it'd be nicer weather. I mean, I know when I went back to went to the Outback Bowl there, and when we played Northwestern in in the 2015, beginning of 16 or whatever. I mean, it was 84 degrees that day, and literally, I'm not kidding you. A quick story on that. We left Tampa and drove because that game started at, I think it started at 11 or noon that day, so it was over quick, but or early. But we drove about 6 hours or so, 6-7 hours back home that evening, and by the time that we got to North Florida, it was raining and it was in the 50s. So it was like a 30 degree change in temperature in a matter of about 3.5 hours north. So crazy.
Yeah.
So with that, but Matt Griffin, he's laughing at the Bama there. So with that, but anyway, Dauber, anything else you want to add? We're going to try to have maybe something next week. Tennessee doesn't play basketball again until next Saturday. A week from this Saturday, a huge game against Memphis. That ought to be an electric atmosphere. Be a huge test for Tennessee, even though Wiseman's suspended. Will still be a huge test for them. So with that, but anything, Dauber, you want to add?
No, I'm looking forward to Penny coming into Knoxville after all the mess that he started last year, and dogging Barnes. It's always nice to beat in-state teams like Vandy or Memphis State Tiger High down there on the West End. It's just they've all got this little brother complex, man. Granted, we've dropped some games to them, both of them, but we're Tennessee. We like some of the guys were saying there Saturday night after the game. This is our state. So, you want to? We got a couple guys talking about the Lady Vols here. You want to hit on that? Any?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I watched a little bit of that game against Notre Dame when they upset them. But other than that, I haven't really kept up with it. I'll just be honest with you. I think we're undefeated. We're still undefeated. I don't know what outside of Notre Dame. Not even sure what type of competition that they played yet. But certainly, off to a really good start and seem to have some momentum there with that. But you got anything on it, Dauber?
No, I mean, I just think that the coaching change was needed. I
definitely agree with that. Yeah,
I think Holly had lost the locker room, lost the team. Recruiting was just not very good. And I don't know if it's necessarily recruiting or if it same sort of thing we've dealt with football. The development and players really sort of just plateauing and not getting any better. But I I think Kelly's going to be good. You know, she played for Pat, and um, it, it's
Well,
one of
she's
those
going
things.
to know. She's going to
Yeah,
know what it's going to take.
yeah, and that's one of the things that's why I like Fulmer right down the hall from Pruitt, because Fulmer knows firsthand what it takes to coach a successful team, and he knows um, what Pruitt needs, and he's
Yeah,
going to provide that for him.
yeah, yeah. Let me get this super chat in right quick from Corn Dog Lover, $1.99 super chat. Simply says hashtag JP 2020. Appreciate that, Corn Dog Lover. Appreciate it. I'm not sure what I'm running for in 2020, but I'll think of something.
There you go.
What do you think, Dauber? We should get Dauber running for something. We should get Dauber running for something. Hashtag JP 2020. There we go.
If you see me running, then you better get running too, because there's something going wrong.
Yeah, I know it, right? I know it, right? What was that? They something meme going around or something saying if you need to ask if your significant other before when you start dating them whether or not they have like runners in their family or 5Ks or I don't know. It's something I saw. It was funny.
Was it something to do with because they have races like on Thanksgiving
On Thanksgiving or something. Yeah. Trust me, I'm not running on Thanksgiving. Appreciate that again, corn dog lover. Appreciate you.
Got a question from Matt Griffith there. Penny was on Barnes, and then talking about that they were being aggressive and talking about bald fists.
Yeah, that they were ready to fight. Of course, did you watch that game last year?
Oh yeah.
I mean that was almost like a football game.
It
was a physical basketball game.
It
Very
was
physical,
but there was also a lot of flopping going on from Memphis, which is a point of emphasis this year. And I think you get warned once, and then it becomes a technical foul. So,
yeah, they actually called that on one of the Florida State guys. I'm pretty sure it was the Florida State game.
However, I don't know that it benefits us this year because we don't run that kind of flex motion running down through somebody like Grant or Schofield. We just don't have the size and the bodies to run that style of offense now. So we're not going to the line as much this year. And that's if this team is not hitting open jump shots, they're going to struggle. Because they don't have the size to pound the ball down low and run a high low or a flex. It's just that's not the dynamic and the way this team's going to work. But it's going to be interesting, definitely, as this season progresses and you get some of these young guys a little bit more involved. Just how this team does turn out.
Yeah, and if you'd have told me that 8 games in that we'd be 7-1 with wins over Washington, who was a top 20 team at the time, and BCU, which was a top 20 team, and then a 3-point loss to Florida State on a neutral court, I think that I take that with this basketball team, knowing with certainly what this team lost last year, and of course next Saturday is going to be huge, and having to defend that 31 game straight win streak and Thompson Bowling with Memphis coming in, that's going to be a huge test for us. There's no doubt about that. But you gotta like having basically 10 days off
Oh
for
yeah.
this basketball team to get recharged. And I think that you got to like Rick Barnes having 10 days to prepare for Memphis, and the fact that Wiseman's not playing, and I'm pretty sure one of their point guards is out too. I think he's hurt.
Well,
Um,
and the Tommy Bowl will be rocking. That game
oh
was
yes,
that
yes.
game was sold out. I think along with was it the LSU and Kentucky, and I think there was one more home game that as soon as tickets went on sale, those games were like immediately sold out. So yeah,
What's up, Troy Lee?
everybody's wanting to see this game, and Memphis. They're sort of a bit of a wild card. I don't think that they're as good as they will be with Wiseman in the mix.
Oh
But
no, definitely, definitely. I mean, they were saying that more than likely that he's probably the number one pick in the
yeah,
NBA draft next year.
yeah,
7 foot, and I mean, agile and can play. So
yeah,
uh, we would have certainly had our hands full with him. So
yeah,
I'm not going to cry that we miss we miss having to play him for sure. But it's it would be good if we could beat them, and then we have another, what you would think a pretty tough test with Wisconsin
hmm
coming up with that. But there's a good chance if we could get by um, Memphis, there's a good chance that this team could potentially start the season before SEC play with only that one loss. I mean, I know this basketball team is going to have to play better. Obviously, they're going to have to cut down on the turnovers. Excuse me. They're going to have to cut down on the turnovers, and at some point in time, we're going to have to start making some shots from the outside for sure.
Well, I we've also got a game against Cincinnati.
Yes,
But
yeah,
before conference play
that's
starts.
right. That's right. We got them after Memphis, and then Wisconsin three days after Christmas there.
hmm
So with that, Memphis, Cincinnati, Wisconsin. You feel like certainly before the conference tournament or conference play starts that those are the three games that certainly Tennessee is going to be tested in.
hmm
What if Tennessee wins? Two out of the three. I mean, still,
Yeah,
I mean, starting conference play with only two losses would be absolutely huge.
yeah, especially knowing that you still got that late uh, season game against Kansas that is on the road.
Yeah, yeah. With that, get this super chat in right quick. Mr. Kenny Ashby, $5 super chat, simply says, "Go Vols." Appreciate that, Kenny Ashby. Appreciate you tuning in tonight, along with everybody else. Talking a little BasketVawls tonight after they put a whooping on the Florida A&M Christmas trees. Those are some ugly uniforms. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
I can say. They're just ugly, 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 ugly. But with that, we got 14 people in the live chat. I mean, I don't really have much else to say. What about you, Dauber? Got anything else? We'll just
No,
keep on a rambling.
yeah,
We got people still talking to us.
we've we've got a knack for that.
Yeah, we do, don't we? I got a frog in my throat or something. Excuse me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha
All
now.
right. Sometimes this thing lights up when I put it on mute, and sometimes it doesn't. So they all say that I need a new headset anyway. Remember, there's a bunch of them got in here and said that said I needed a new headset for some reason, that it looked cheap. It was $30 some.
Maybe Santa Claus can bring you one.
You reckon so? You
Maybe,
reckon so?
maybe.
So with that, but anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Episode number 75. What is a 75th anniversary? Is that's not Silver's 50, isn't it?
I believe so.
I don't know what 75, but this is a special occasion, the 75th Talkin VAWLS episode, and Boogie Bentley's not here.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even. I don't even think Boogie even showed up in the live chat tonight. What do y'all think about that?
I bet he didn't smash that like button.
I bet he hadn't either, and he's always on us about smashing the like button and turning it on.
Yeah.
And I bet he's not even in. I bet he's asleep. I bet he's snoring about now.
Probably. It is
Probably
10.
so.
It is 10 o'clock.
I know it. I know it. Matt Griffin said he had to go out and buy some of those green Christmas tree cakes. Hey, I had one of those tonight, Matt. Things are good. Anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in and listening tonight, watching us and interacting with us. We certainly appreciate it. Be sure to, if you haven't, go ahead and like and smash that like button. Follow us on Twitter at Talkin VAWLS Pod. And we still got merchandise, official Talkin VAWLS merchandise. All the links are in the description on YouTube. I think that's going to do it for tonight. We appreciate everybody. We will be back. We're going to come back next Wednesday, Dauber. We're going to do something probably or try or.
I don't know. I mean,
We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
We may be throwing out some videos. I think maybe Boogie's working on a video or two, and I think Dauber's got something in progress.
I've got something in the works. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a recruiting thing that I'm gonna try to do. But gosh, not to keep on going here, but football recruiting, it's like there's people popping up all over the place. It's crazy.
This whole early signing period has really changed recruiting and everything to do with that.
Yeah, it definitely has. But anyway, be sure to check us out on the S&B network, and we'll definitely have some new content coming out. So certainly be checking check that out when it comes out. And until then, got one thing left to say. Go Vols. Good night, everybody.
See you.